You are a ripe grape, just a single grape. In every Bitcoin cycle, there is a pattern. I've told you about it. I'm going to tell you again. Bitcoin's price underperforms the crowd consensus target. Can we please highlight this word together? Underperforms. Do you get that? Underperforms. That's the key word of the day. We never overperform. Do you get that? In every single cycle. I'm sorry. I'm not apologizing. You're my friend, but I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to swallow this hard truth. Or go ahead, learn the hard way. I don't care. Be my guest. I'm telling you, it underperforms the target. Go back to 2017. Bitcoin hit 20K. Do you want to know what the target was? It was 100K. Why was it 100K? Because what people did in 2017 was they looked back at 2012 and they said, excuse me, Mr. Bitcoin, you did a 600x to the top. That's 600 times your money from the bottom to the top. Okay, let me do a 600x from $160 up to times 600. There you go, 160 times 600, about 9,600K. Done. Did we get it? No. No, we didn't. Now, walk forward. What happened in 2021? Infinite QE, 0% rates, 16 trillion of negative yielding bonds, increasing the money supply by 39%. Golly gee, what happened? You say, okay, Mr. Bitcoin, as the inverse oracle god Jim Cramer would say, you did a 100x in the previous cycle, 2015 to 2017. Surely, from this low point of 3,150, surely you can give us a 100x or a 50x even. You couldn't even do that for us. The price target was about 150 to 180K. It's roughly 180,000 to let you know. What do we hit? About 50 to 70. If you take the average of that, friends, 65 on 180, there you go. We were 36% of the target. What have I told you so many times? Who buys the tops? It's people who believe there's still another 2 to 3x to go. You know this. That's why I'm going to crank the music for you, okay? At 2 to 3x to go. The only way you could get people to buy a $60,000 Bitcoin is if they really believed 180,000 was coming. The only way you can get people to buy a $20,000 Bitcoin is if they thought $100,000 was coming. You see the pattern here? Every single cycle, right? So now I'm thinking about our top and the probabilities. I don't know what's going to happen. The odds can change. I've said this many times. You have to listen. The odds can change. But right now, this is definitive. The crowd expects $120,000 Bitcoin in the bull market. You can't argue with that. I saw all the surveys. And yes, don't tell me, oh, but Mrs. Cathie Would. Cathie's a gilf. She's got a bull target. And guess what? If you average out Cathie with everybody else, you still get 120K. I already made posts on this. I made posts. I made videos. I was ecstatic in my squeaky chair with my straight posture, going like, wow, that's crazy. If you add up all the bears with all the bulls, even their 500K targets, 400K, you get your 120K. Fascinating. That's what the average is. 120, sometimes 150. Who's going to be buying a $90,000 Bitcoin or an $80,000? It's people who believe in that 120 to 150K. If the average is a 150K, no one buys at 130. There's not enough in it. People don't buy at 130. Oh, let's buy 130. It's going 150. There are potential people who would do it, but for the most part, it never gets there. The bulk of the buying doesn't get there. You run out of buyers. gets absorbed. That's why right now, from everything we can see today, 70% chance, 80K, 30% chance green light to 120 plus. 30% chance. If you don't study history, you are doomed to repeat the mistakes. I'm just a messenger. You like, subscribe, belly button, all. Appreciate every single one of you. Shock the algorithm, family-friendly show. I don't really care what you do. Okay, I know my baby dolls. I know you're gonna manage your portfolio properly, but there are many people out there. They're not gonna do the right thing. I know they're not. Of course they're not. How do you think we get there in the first place? We only get there. We're only allowed. Look, we're only allowed to trade at $80,000 Bitcoin if people believe in $150,000. They have to believe in 150. That's why they're buying 80. You get that? So then, smarty peanut pants might say, okay, how do we get people to buy 150K? Good question. You need them to believe in a $300,000 Bitcoin minimum. You need them to actually believe the consensus, the average person, not one or two people, not our gilf, Cathie. No, not one person or a group. No, you need the average crowd, the whole crowd, everybody. The consensus to be $300,000 to $400,000. You need the consensus to believe we're going to flip gold in this cycle. There are a few people who believe that, of course. I'd say their slippers are very fluffy. Thank you for being a bull, but there's not enough of you. We need more people there. It's fascinating how this works. This is the mind of the market. You can't control how the market's going to react at these places. All you can do is assign probabilities. You know what's another fascinating thing? No matter how much I try to teach people, some people just don't get it. Do you know that on the way to 150, your target, do you know it has to stop at 80, right? Just like, oh, golly gee, you know Bitcoin on its way to 100K in 2021, it had to stop at 51,000, right? Did you sell everything? No, you didn't, all right? So on the way to 100K, which we were destined to go in 2021, we had to stop at 50. We stopped at 50. And what did everybody say? No, we went to 60, so you're wrong. No, you weren't. This is going to repeat again. Which side of history are you going to be on? We're going to speak about selling next year. We're going to speak about the process of selling, how we have to do it, how we have to train ourselves. It's going to be trimming. It's going to be certain indicators flip, some trend, some fading. It's not going to be too complicated, but you have to do it as a process of time. What's going to be the ultimate indicator? Of course, the weekly super trend. But unfortunately, with the weekly super trend, if we go back in history, by the time it's over, you are down 38, 40% from the top on Bitcoin, but you are down 75% on altcoins. 70% average number. So if your portfolio was $1 million at the top, and then you think, okay, I think there's another 2x left, but that's actually the top. If you're holding $1 million in Bitcoin, you're down to 600K, you got to get out. If you're holding $1 million in altcoins, you're down to 300,000, you got to get out. And guess what? Not many people get out. Everyone's still bag holding. Unfortunately, nothing is perfect. Look when this flipped. This flipped minus 50%. You know, if you had $1 million, you got to sell now, you're 500K, you have to watch it go up without you. It's not so easy, is it? So when there are signs of euphoria, we're going to be trimming along the way. You are on the friendship train. Don't forget this. These are just odds. That's it. My odds can change. I have every right to change the odds. We're going to see how 2024 plays out. I've got to remind you of this too, right? This is going to throw everybody off guard. If Bitcoin hits $70,000 super fast, it does not change my odds. Okay? If Bitcoin hits $70,000 after the Bitcoin halvening, that is not changing my odds. That might make me more scared for 2025. Even I'm like, okay, 2025 is definitely a red year now. Because the thesis was thinking, remember, I mean, you watch all my videos, you know this. I said, okay, the emotional money in 2025, if they get too excited, they're coming in 2024. So we've drawn forward all that emotional money, but we get it next year. We're not supposed to get it next year. Maybe we do get it next year. I don't know. Is 2024 going to be red and give us 3 up years of green? Or is 2024 going to be green with a hyperbolic push off to the top at the very end, but everybody forecasts 2025 to be green, but then they're wrong? You know, look, there is a chance though. They're like, okay, this just cycle. What if this cycle just repeats stock standard the whole way through? We're ready for that too. But this is where you got to be a really good speculator, and you are, because if the cycle plays out as normal and the crowd doesn't get screwed, if you protect yourself with your portfolio, you can still make all the gains. Why? It's because the cycle, when Bitcoin stops, flushes into altcoins and everything's going up for 3 months. Basically, you have enough time to make up for lost ground because the cycle's continued the way it is. Let's talk specific numbers though. You get out at $80,000. Okay, it kept going to 130. If you got out a third of your portfolio at $80,000 and it went up to 130 Bitcoin, when Bitcoin stops around this zone, there is an alt mania, alt season. Alt coins are going nuts. New coins launch. There's supply issues going on. People want tokens and apps and all this other crazy stuff. You have time. You're not going anywhere. You're not going on holiday for 3 months. You're going to be here. You can make up for it, and they'll be super fast. You can even take a bit more aggressive risk in some places with new coins. So you're not actually missing anything. I think people are just scared of you get out and then it does another 4x. Everyone's scared of that. But guess what? Everyone knows about it now. That's why there's diminishing gains issues. Those imaginary horribles of you get out and then it does another 4x, that was when we didn't have 419 million people in crypto. Now we're in cycle number 4. The euphoria lessens over time. Make sure you like, subscribe, Betty Button, all. Appreciate every single one of you. This peanut brain is ready for the Bitcoin halvening. Let's go. Catch you soon.